Why don't you put your pants back on, Slappy?
Hello, you're on the air.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
How you doing?
Roll 'em. Action.
Hell yes!
Mr. Allen, how are you doing today? 9 to noon.
Here we go, Paul! And he's... P.A.
Time for 2 more.
Hide the women and children. There are those catching multiple strays in the opening segment this Monday, 9 to noon.
Mission complete on Bourbon Street.
Hey, the Mission Mardi Gras has been set. Mission Mardi Gras, and here are your teams. Ladies and gentlemen, from the American Football Conference, the back-to-back champions, these guys.
Mahomes looking left. Pass caught at the 5-yard line. Edward near side. Leaping forward. Xavier Worthy. Touchdown! Kansas City. The Chiefs a short roll to the right side. Mahomes, he'll keep it stringing right side and puts his right shoulder into the end zone. Touchdown! Kansas City. A 7th rushing touchdown in the postseason for Mahomes. That's the most in Kansas City Chiefs history. And it puts the Chiefs up 20-10.
Another receiver on the other side. It's a pitch play to Cook. Dives, reaches for the end zone, and he's got it! He is in for the touchdown! What an amazing effort by Cook, who is back in the kitchen for his 2nd touchdown of the game. It's an orbit motion. Allen in the shotgun takes the snap. Allen looking, fires, and it's complete to Curtis Samuel for the touchdown! 4th and goal is good for Buffalo! And with 6:15 left, Curtis Samuel showed up late to the party, but someone will tell you he was right on time.
35-yard attempt for Harrison Butker to try to give the Chiefs the lead. Swings the right leg through, and the kick is good. He nails it for his 4 out of 4 this year in the postseason. His 36th made field goal, but the Chiefs get 3, not 7. Long count. Chiefs are going to throw it. They throw it in the left flat. Cut! It's Samaje Perine at the 30. First down! And up the left sideline! I love you, Samaje Perine! I remember when Brett Veach told me they picked him up. It's a gain of 18 yards. I poured water on my head. And the Kansas City Chiefs are going to pull this off.
My turn?
Your turn.
Okay. I just poured water on my head, and
good morning.
And I'm melting, and good morning. Well, that's all this just so super special. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. My ding-a-ling. My ding-a-ling. From the NFC, the bit representing our conference, fly, Eagles, fly.
Pitches it out to Barkley, takes off to the outside. He's at the 50, he's at the 40, he's at the 30, he's going to go! 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Saquon Barkley, 60 yards on his opening touch. Hurts calling for the football. Hurts is going to throw. He's back. He fires. He completes it. Touchdown!
That's the matchup I like.
Brown. Hurts, quarterback draw. He's at the 5. He is in for the touchdown. Jalen Hurts.
I guess his leg's all right.
Jalen does a little dance. Handoff. Shipley plowing ahead. Touchdown. Will Shipley. He joins the fun. Zeros on the clock. The flares fly skyward. And the Eagles
He joins the
not
fun.
just beat, but annihilate the Washington Commanders 55-23. What a day, what a win, what a crowd, what a team, what a season, but it's not over yet.
E-L-G-S-E-S, Eagles! Let's go, Birds!
Let's go, Birds!
I'm a kid, so I call it KFAN.
All right. There's so much that's not in the Tolstoy off the highlights you played. It's attention diversion. I'm of the tentacle variety. in the first place, but you created some with those highlights. And I'm just going to get this out of the way. First and foremost, the Vox you heard for the Philadelphia Eagles, the venerable Merrill Reese,
HOF,
has called Philadelphia Eagles games for about half a century. And his disdain for FedEx Field came out in his voice when he's like, they didn't just win, Mike. They demolished them. He doesn't go to FedEx Field to call Eagles Washington games. He does it like we did it in the pandemic.
Yeah, off the TV, right?
Home stadium, couple of TVs. I mean,
but he does other home games.
All of them. and he does he didn't go to Brazil. No, Merrill doesn't go to Brazil.
No, he's good to stay home for that.
Right. His
well, so hold on then.
His samba is already set.
So you've spent you on several occasions you've been there as a Vox.
It's awful.
Is it the location? I mean, the entire facility has been much maligned by the fan base and everybody involved for years, but is it just the worst location? Like Arizona doesn't have a great location. I mean, there are good times, bad times in the art of the Vox.
Great question. It's. I mean,
sewage pipes pouring down on you.
These are Vox problems,
right?
So let's put them in context. Deep corner, super small box, and the Eagles. Yeah, they have a bunch of people with them. They've multiple producers, multiple people standing around. Merrill's in his 80s.
Right.
He needs number pointing. He just needs get down there on that game calling depth chart to help him along the way.
I will say during our home broadcasts, and you have Abbott, you have Jared Wells doing the production, and then down at the voice level, it's you, and then Poopy Dave, and potentially some sort of stats / VEN related inclusion. So, I mean, there's 4, 5, 6 people in the mix.
There's a front row stray every game.
When we were, more than one sometimes, when we were in Philly for the preseason bit, there were like 12 people. It's an operation for WIP 94, home of the Birds.
So you're next to instant replay. So it's the only place in the NFL when you call a game representing a road team.
Yeah.
That when you go to tape up your steam, well, you got to tape it about 1.5 feet back than usual. My man, the lady with instant replay, well, they got to see down the field, and they're already blocked by the players standing up on the Washington sideline. So you lose the yard markers and stuff like that. So Merrill doesn't go.
Did you get...
He took his disdain.
A little knock on the glass, and you were politely requested to remove the note cards and the sheets and the BOGO ball being activated.
Yeah, I think there now is a curtain there, and I think yours truly is the reason for the curtain between instant replay and road radio. When a replay that I'm watching on their 4 TVs right next to me, and it looks to be super obvious to God's cartoon character, and they go the other way, and it's against us. And I'm like, come on, what happened? Next time we were there, curtain.
You're listening to 9 to Noon.
And you know what? This little bit that I put together about the Philadelphia Eagles, the Washington Commanders, Dan Campbell, Detroit Lions fans, management for the Detroit Lions, fellow coaches. All of those potentially let down by the guy who left, and the guy has a right to leave. They all do.
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn, the assistants, the whole thing. But the one guy who left, and some things that subsequently have transpired after, it's 9 to Noon recognizing there is much to discuss with the Super Bowl pairing and a purple purge of sorts that's almost upon us. That's the 10. But what is unveiled, how much of whatever gift of discernment God provided me went the way of feeling bad yesterday for the Kiddies Covenant and Dan Miller and Lomas Brown and my buddy Jason Hatch, who was at Buffalo Wild Wings and also at the State Fair for the great NFC North get-together. and all the cool kiddies in their covenant. It may be ill-founded. It may be wrong. But here's the first part of it. We'll pay it off a little later. Chris Finch. 8 minutes from now. So we in a hurry. I wonder if Dan Campbell and Lions fans have reason to be a bit queasy and uneasy right now. So here's the deal. The Commanders rolled into the Motor City and kind of smacked the favorites, who deceptively put up some big yardage numbers and 31 points. However, in that game, divisional round, the Lions ran fewer plays than Washington. They lost the time of possession. They went -5 in the take-give, and that included a pick six. They went 50% in the red zone. That's inside the 20. And what's interesting about that is it is absolutely antithetical to what that Lions offense had done all season. Oh my gosh. They always run the most plays. They always crush the game of keep away. The Lions always do well in the take give, and they finished the year third in red zone touchdowns and were 70% at home and went 50% v. Hail to the Commanders. Dan Campbell, the GM, others, fans. We'll leave this part like this. Are they like Ben Johnson? That mother. So let me get this straight. If I'm like a Lions fan or their Vox or the GM or Dan Campbell or a fellow coach who's still there, let me get this straight. Everything we normally do well just falls off a cliff a week our offensive coordinator knows he's taking another job, which is fine, but sure would be cool if Bleep was more organized and squared away like usual. That's how we operate. Like usual, my man. Oh, and we heard you lack self-awareness and tell Bears employees, quote, told you I'd be here sooner than later, end quote. What kind of forget where you come from weasel did you turn out to be, beloved BJ? Any chance that's what that covenant is feeling right now with the way things developed yesterday? Now, Philadelphia's a very good team. 55 points is a lot of points. 55, 53, whatever it was. But if I'm a Lions fan, if I'm Dan Campbell, if I'm somebody with that organization, I'm just wondering why some reliable, super key facets of our offense fell off a freaking cliff the week you were taking a new job, and then you couldn't wait to get out of here, and then you said to Bears staff, not knowing anybody was rolling film, roll them, action. I told you I'd be here sooner than later. This is potentially very controversial. All right, more on that later. Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, joins 9 to noon around the corner. Part of the Timber Tech What's on Deck set list, which also includes Parker Fox for the Red Hot Golden Gophers basketball team. That's 30 minutes from now. And the off-season Purple Purge process. At least part of it is unveiled by yours truly. At about 10 o'clock, Nordo produces, and I'm Paul Allen. Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, around the corner on KFAN. And here's the con with the money thing.
Yeah, indeed. The fan wants to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword money. You might win some. You might win $1,000. With the keyword money, all you got to do, just go to KFAN.com, enter said keyword money.
And courtesy of Second Harvest Heartland and Prize Picks, it's Chris Finch, Timberwolves coach by day and ardent Philadelphia Eagles fan by night. Chris, just go ahead and bottle that weekend and store it away for safekeeping, right? I mean, Saturday, you guys gave the home fans plenty of reason to cheer by smashing the Nuggets and just a sterling performance. And Sunday, your football team hangs 55 on Washington, so that troubled knee probably feels pretty good today, and good morning.
Good morning, Pierre. Yeah, it was a good one. Hopefully we can keep it going tonight.
What do you think of your football team? You think they beat the Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have all the tools to be able to beat them, but seemingly it's almost an impossible task these days. So I've got to feel confident, but watching this Chiefs play, they just find a million ways to win, and they never beat themselves, and that's what the best teams do.
Saquon, old school. Saquon's like Dominique Wilkins. I mean, he just goes downhill hard and fast and just tries to dunk on you hard every play, right?
He's fun to watch. He's a tone setter, and it's unique in the league right now where you have such an explosive running game, and you do feel like you can break one at any time, which is kind of nice.
last one on the football piece. 30 years ago, Chris, would you have been on Broad Street climbing poles in celebration?
No.
What do you mean?
As much as I am. Yeah. I mean, I love the Eagles, and they've been my lifelong passion, but I know when to stay away from, a dangerous crowd.
Basketball, Denver. Best overall game of the season, Chris, and a culmination of patience, precision, execution, and more. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I would say so. I think in the last couple of weeks we played a few complete games. Really, I think New York was a complete game. I thought Dallas was a pretty complete game for us. I thought the two Memphis games were almost complete games. We just kind of couldn't close them off. But Denver game was an outstanding start for us. Maintained our focus and our execution throughout. Really good on both sides of the ball. We have a confidence and a comfort level against that team. I think that certainly helps us. We're so familiar with them too. But it was a game that we needed to win, really needed to win, and to do it in that fashion, I certainly hope it propels us here now coming into the All-Star break.
So I know Oklahoma City's, not on the schedule around the corner or anything, but when you say, we have a certain degree of confidence with which the team plays against Denver, and familiarity probably would have something to do with that, but like, if one is to believe Oklahoma City is the best team in the Western Conference, do you sense your team has that type of comfortability playing OKC?
Yeah, we've only faced them once so far. I think last year we split with them. They're very similar. They're a better version than they were last year because I think all their guys are a little bit more seasoned and they're just a little bit more fully formed in what they are and who they are. We played there. I thought we did a really good job for 3/4 of that game, controlling the game. We just had a 7-8 minute period of meltdown on offense where we turned it over at a high level in the third quarter. We were up 12 when that period started, and they're excellent at turning off defense into offense by turning you over at a high level, and that's something that we have to be able to guard against when we play that team or any team for matter, because we tend to turn it over. But I'm not saying that we don't have a confidence against anybody. We felt when we played those guys that if we just take care of the ball, we win that game. So we are at times our own worst enemy. But those periods of play are less and less right now, which is really encouraging.
Yeah, that and I'm glad you said turnovers. I didn't put this in the stuff I wrote down for you, but now it just triggers a memory from Saturday, and I don't have it in front of me. But like your starters, I think only had 5, 6, or 7 turnovers, maybe 7. And Joker had 7 by himself, and they had at least double the turnovers with their starters that you guys did. I mean, that right there is just tenacity, isn't it?
Yeah, and so much of the game now just comes down to possession battles. It's no different than the NFL. I mean, obviously, the Commanders are going to turn it over 3 times, and the Eagles don't turn it over at all. That's really the difference in the game. Everything else is just kind of add on to that. And in basketball, if you're allowing your opponent to take more shots at the rim than you get every single night, whether it be turnovers or offensive rebounds, you're probably not going to win many of those games. And that's, for much of December, we were losing the possession battle on a nightly basis. Our opponents were getting up more shots at the rim than we were. And, we were losing a lot of close games as a result. And just kind of basketball mathematics. We had to reverse that trend.
From Saturday, Rudy Gobert was a menacing presence all over the court. But with Rudy, why do you like playing the rookie Dillingham with Gobert so much? What's important about that pairing?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of it is to try to protect Rob defensively. Rob, they'll often try to pick on him in certain situations, mostly the pick and roll. Rudy's best attribute defensively is always been an elite pick and roll defender. So it gives him some defensive kind of confidence out there too, and also they have a good connection. I think Rob's one of our better lob passers. He's the guy that could find late plays to Rudy, and it brings out some offensive punch with that little combination. Now they haven't had a ton of time together, but it's still a threat, and that's what we need. We need that threat.
Coach, when you say we haven't found Rudy enough in certain situations, what does that mean?
Yeah, I think he's open on the lob quite a bit, or he might be open on the late pass when his defender steps up to help. And these are situations that we've got to take advantage of. They're putting two on the ball, whether it be in a help situation or aggressively in pick and roll. And Rudy's rolling free. You got to make the defense pay. It's just something that we haven't consistently been able to exploit for a variety of reasons, whether it's been turnovers, don't trust the play, just double teams, et cetera. So we're getting better at it. It feels like that trust now and that chemistry is there. But we're going to have to do it. And, tonight's going to be a good test because like last time we played these guys right before Christmas, they pretty much, trapped Ant everywhere and dared us to throw the ball to Rudy rolling down the middle of the floor. And, when we were able to do that, we make them pay, and then they got to adjust.
And I would imagine you have to be smart with the passes to Gobert, right? I mean, some fast action bounce passes in the key can confound the big ones at times.
Yeah, that's part of it all too. It's not that we just choose not to throw to Rudy because we don't like him or we don't trust him. It's every situation is a little bit different to be able to deliver the ball. And to your point, some players have always been used to maybe delivering those types of bounce passes in that situation. They have to kind of adjust to throwing the ball in the air or waiting to throw it a little bit later, or so it takes time. We've talked about this before a lot when we first got Rudy, and it's and we've gone through different phases of it as we've seen different types of defenses. And we're just, going to have to keep working on it.
Well, when it comes to the way the routes you guys as coaches, specifically you, the head coach, required the team to play, can it become monotonous? And the reason I ask is because after the Denver domination, Mike Conley, bona fide leader, said, quote, "It's key not becoming bored with the right way to play," end quote. Like what does that mean?
Yeah, it's just another way of saying just keep doing the things that we know work. Don't deviate. Don't just because you maybe have made a couple baskets. It's not time for you to break outside the scheme or the structure or the concepts that are working. Avoid too many isolation situations. I mean, understanding what works and being able to go back to it. I think that's also important. And sometimes lineups are going to change and the flow of the game changes, and there are things that change and you're not going to be able to score doing the same thing every single time down, but being able to go back to the concepts and the style of play that does work is key as well, because it gets you back into your ability to control the game.
With Anthony Edwards, I love when something gets under his skin and it's not officiating related. All right. And something got under his skin late first half, man, right in front of you, too, when Denver was going to your right. And he picked up Jamal Murray almost full court and just flustered the bleep out of him. So why and when does Edwards decide to play that way? Because he's a demon when he does.
Yeah, we've always preached to him, and that his path to greatness is going to be being amongst one of the best two-way players in the league. He has the ability to guard all the time like that. He does carry a large offensive load, so there is some, I guess, conservation of energy that goes with that on the defensive end. But it's, one of those things that I believe has become more myth than reality in the NBA. And you got to be able to play both ends and be able to impact at both ends. But a lot of times with Ant, it's, if he gets on these marquee matchups, that's when he really shines. And we've been putting him on those guys more and more now to try to kind of get him motivated at that end of the floor.
Jaden McDaniels, holy cow. I mean, we talked about him last week. He sure is seeing it clearly right now. What's eye-opening to you about his game, especially when he takes big guys off the dribble?
Yeah, I mean, what I love about his game is that, he's not just kind of living and dying by his shot making, and he's really kind of trusting and using all parts of his game, whether it be his cutting, his playmaking, his attacking off the catch, his rebounding offensively and defensively. These are all things that, he's always been able to do. I think, maybe over the course of the last several years, he's kind of fallen into this mindset, well, I got to make shots at a high level for me to be the player that I need to be and us to win. And while that might be true, I think there's a lot more that he can do, and we're seeing that. And, we've seen that early on in the first couple of years in his career when he maybe didn't trust his shot so much. I think he trusts his shot a lot more now than he did when he was a younger player. I think it ironically goes in at a lot higher rate when he's doing all these other things. When he's just kind of focusing on his shot and he defaults to being a little bit more one-dimensional, I think that's when, his shot becomes a bit more inconsistent. So he's a complete all-around basketball player. That's what we love about him, and that's the type of basketball he's playing right now.
And back to Anthony for a second, nearly done. With Anthony, are patience and Edwards required sometimes to get things going the way you want? Because, like specifically Saturday, sometimes Julius Randle is the A topic early in games, and I'm not saying Ant's just like standing there, but I mean you could just tell he has to be patient, right?
Yeah. Well, I think what we've seen now, and Julius is one thing we've asked for to be aggressive early. That first unit at times has struggled to score. We've asked Mike to be more aggressive in that unit. We've asked Julius to be more aggressive in that unit. Oftentimes, those two guys come out early. They're some of our first subs, so if they're not aggressive in that first 6-minute stretch that they play, then they might, not feel like they get into the game until, deeper into the second quarter. And Ant's traditionally been a slower starter generally throughout his career. So I think, but he's also had big starts for us from time to time, but generally he's been a slower starter.
Hey, the Hawks, you mentioned they're here tonight. The Hawks and Trae Young, Target Center, 7:00. Wolves looking to win 3 in a row. They beat the Timberwolves down there a month ago. Now, the Hawks are down stud forward Jalen Johnson. I think that's big. He's one of the NBA's up-and-coming players. Okongwu is 6'10", and they have Clint Capella coming off the bench these days. What I'm getting at here is, could this be a big one for Rudy tonight?
It's going to have to be a big one for Rudy. They're very active. They're always driving you. They're coming downhill all the time. They're at the rim. They live at the rim. And last time we played these guys, we didn't do a really good job of challenging them at the rim enough. It's not just their bigs, which are very active. Both rolling and relocating, but also on the glass. But yeah, their smalls are kind of coming downhill too. So they play with a ton of movement, and they're very hard to guard. If you don't control the ball and you don't control the rim, which two things we're generally pretty good at when we're good, you're going to be in for a long night. So I think it's a huge one for Rudy. It's also a huge one for Rudy because he needs to start stacking some performances on top of each other like we had the other night. We're not going to become the team we know we can be without him playing at that level.
Yes, sir. And when I wrote this next one about Trae Young, I'm conceding it may be the dumbest thing you hear all day, but I'm going to ask it anyway because Trae's three-point game is really off right now, specifically the last three. All right, and he missed some time about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and maybe he's getting himself back, but his three-point game's off. Do you let him fire some up to see if he's still cold? Because he's just chucking them up from all over the place and mostly to no avail.
Yeah, well, fortunately for us, he's out tonight I think, with a shoulder injury or something, or hamstring injury, I believe. So he's been listed out. So we won't have to make that decision. I'm never comfortable with Trae, just when I don't look at his percentages because I know he's such a dangerous shooter. He is having an off year, but I think a lot of that is more style of play related. He's done an incredible job. I think just kind of getting his teammates involved. His super skill has always been passing. He can make shots from all over the floor. He always seems to make the ones that matter, like that hurt you the most at the end of the game. But they've done a really good job of constructing a roster around him that, not only protects him defensively where he is, the weakest, but also complements him so well offensively. And they got a lot of big guys, athletic, interchangeable wings, and they all play a fast and fun style that, really helps, maximize Trae as a passer.
Yep. Like I said, Dyson Daniels, he's shooting 26% on threes this month. He's hit 3 of his last 13. He's super cold of late. So you got a D up against Dyson Daniels tonight. Maybe the new Trae Young in tonight's game. I didn't know he was out. He's been playing of late. Lastly, then you guys are at Phoenix Wednesday, then Utah Thursday. All winnable if they don't become bored with playing the right way, correct?
100%. Couldn't have said it more. It's the theme for the week.
Thank you very much. We will chat next week, which will be up to the Super Bowl. Best of luck against Trae Young, Dyson Daniels tonight. And I'll see you soon, all right?
All right, thanks, PA. Take care.
Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, 9:36. Parker Fox from the Golden Gophers basketball team joins us around the corner on your home for Golden Gophers basketball, FM 100.3, KFAN.
Waiting, bounces to Fox, right of the arc, outside the stripe, wants to drive, does through a double team. Oh, and a reverse dunk! He threw it down over his head, back to the basket, and Gophers leading by 5. His third dunk of the day. There's the horn! The Gophers have won it! 77-69! Ranked opponents go down, and 3 straight wins overall. It's a court rush at the barn.
We'll come in.
He's JJ.
We'll come in.
Parker Fox at Parker Fox via the tweet machine. He joins 9 to noon now. And the Gophers basketball team has won 3 consecutive, and 2 of them against ranked teams. Most recently, beating 15th ranked Oregon Saturday at the barn. And Ben Johnson's squad, red hot as it is, departs for East Lansing today for a Tuesday game against 8th ranked Michigan State. And the power forward joins us now. Parker, congrats on the recent success with the Gophs, but ladies first here, ma'am. Your girlfriend Taylor Heisey scored twice yesterday against the PWHL's Boston Bit and was named first star of the game. Was she just a demon on skates?
Oh, she was a beast. She laughed at me. You're on speakerphone, and she laughed at me as you said that. So,
What's up,
she
Tay?
appreciates it. But no, yeah, it was so fun. We unfortunately had practice at 1:00, so I didn't quite make it over to the Expo Energy Center till the third period. And by the time I got there, she was already on hat trick watch. So needed to get my butt over there to see if I could watch a hat trick occur. Unfortunately, it didn't. But they won 5-2, and she put 2 in the back of the net, glove side. Kay, I know that's where you like to go, glove side.
If Taylor talks, will I be able to hear her right now?
Yeah, you can hear her.
Taylor, hi.
Hi, CA.
Congrats on the deuce and the first star and snapping a little losing streak. That was cool. I have all your albums, and I follow the team more closely from afar than you probably think. But let me ask you a question. Now Parker's team's red hot, and he's heading to East Lansing today, and hopefully they can pull the upset again tomorrow. And we have a lot of beautiful things to share here with that basketball team and your boyfriend and everything. But when he goes 3 of 6 at the line, do you get into him the night after those games?
No, so it's kind of like me in open nets. I'm notorious for missing them, but for him, he always talks about it's just confidence. The more I get on him, probably the worse it would get. So I just kind of leave it alone, and things have been going really well for him free throw wise. So It's pretty good.
Congrats on the victory last night. Best of luck with the next one. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, well, the Taylor squad snapped a 3-game losing streak, and Parker's squad has won 3 consecutive. Parker had 13 and 11 boards with a couple of steals. Now, Dawson Garcia went for a robust 31 on 13 of 19 shooting. So overall, Parker, what did you like about the way you guys played against the Ducks?
Yeah, I think, Coach preached it, the couple days leading up to the game. Is just kind of asserting our dominance, asserting our physicality from the jump. We didn't think they were a super physical, dominant team. They're a really skilled team with a lot of really skillful players, but we thought that we could kind of assert our dominance from the jump, and we were able to do that. We started out really hot, jumped out to a really, really big streak to start the game out. We're knocking some threes down, we're getting some stops on defense, and we thought that if we did that and tried to sustain it throughout the 40 minutes, it would give us a chance to win. And fortunately it did, because it was an awesome environment inside the barn on that day, Saturday.
And I could tell that viewing it from afar, like Williams Arena. I mean, it looked packed and so energized, even like Dr. David Olson was seen waving his corduroy suit coat like a celebratory towel. Broadway Clinic go crazy. What was it like? I mean, was it packed? I know it was loud.
Yeah, it was packed up in there for sure. I think it was definitely the best of the year so far, and it's greatly appreciated from me and my teammates, because I talked about it in the post game presser. It's the reason why guys like Dawson and I came back, and I think as you've seen, being a Minnesota sports fan for long enough, the barn is a special spot to play a game. I think it's such a unique environment, it's such a unique atmosphere, and I think it's so underrated. And when we ran up there to get the game started, it was packed, it was loud. And the fans were in it from the jump, and I think that's a credit to our guys too, getting the crowd engaged. I think I had a couple big dunks early. Dawson had a big 3. We had some stops, and the crowd was engaged and in the game early, and then that sustained over 40 minutes, and led to a court storm, which was an awesome feeling.
Parker Fox with the Golden Gophers basketball team at Michigan State tomorrow, and Parker's squad looks to win 4 in a row. This is super cool. Now, Sparty hasn't lost in 2.5 months and beat you guys here. They've been playing close games of late, and a lot of things even out during the course of the year, even for the top 10 type teams. But a lot of these games have been close, and quite honestly, they could have lost them, but they found ways to win. What's the read with those guys who I believe are still ranked 8th in the land, like 8th or 10th?
Yeah, they're a really good ball club, and they've been a really good ball team for years. Obviously, Tom Izzo has led them to 25 straight March Madness appearances. If you don't count the COVID one, obviously, but no, they're a really good team, and they're hot right now. But like you said, and our coach, our assistant coach Dave Thorson talked about it during our film session yesterday. Is they've been playing in really close games. not only that, but kind of owe us one over there at Michigan State. We've been close for 3 straight years with underneath Coach Johnson, and we've been right there knocking at the door. So now it's about how can you find a way to kind of punch through that door and knock it down and find a way to win. And what a better place to have that opportunity than Michigan State, the Breslin Center. I don't know if you've ever been, but the environment there is I think one of the best in the Big Ten, and I think it's going to be obviously rocking and rowdy for our matchup coming on a 3-game win streak here and a top 10 team in Michigan State. But no, they're a hard playing team. Obviously, when you have a coach like Tom Izzo, you're going to listen to him and you're going to do what he says. So they're kind of by the book, which allows us to mix some things up defensively. So we're going to see if we can come in there and get an upset against Sparty.
So you're saying Breslin Center, the atmosphere is going to be antithetical or opposite, say, Carver Hawkeye, where few show, and I mean, it's sterile. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was, I don't watch a ton of it, but you're playing now, so I'm watching as much as I can. And that Carver, when you guys beat Iowa, Carver Hawkeye, holy cow. I mean, have they forgotten that since Caitlin left, it's like they forget they have teams, period.
Yeah, you're right. It seemed that way. They still have her logo on the ground. We were all trying to shoot the Caitlin Clark shot from whatever it is, 40 feet in our shoot around. But no, you're right. The crowd was dead in there, and it's fun to. I think one of the most fun things in sports on the road is to kind of hear the hush of an away crowd, and we weren't even fortunate enough to hear that because there wasn't any people there. But Breslin Center is going to be the opposite. That place is coordinated. The students are rocking. The whole lower bowl is students, so they call it the I-Zone. So it'll be locked and loaded. And I think if you can make that place quiet, there's not many feelings in basketball or in sport that's better than that.
What are some staples that you've noticed either watching Matamidi go crazy or when you're playing? Some staples of a Tom Izzo-led team.
Yeah, they're very disciplined. They run their sets, to perfection. The scout against a team like, Michigan State is very intense because they have 100 plays you can go over, right? But you're not going to be able to go over 100 plays in scout and be able to, memorize every single thing. So you got to try to memorize concepts, the different ball screen situations that are going to show up. They run a lot of, floppy sets, which means pin downs for their guards. So there's a lot of different things that they're going to run. But it's not going to be a lot of ISO ball. It's not going to be a lot of, hey, give me the rock and get out of the way, Southern California style. It's going to be more, grinded out, different possessions and run what coach tells you. So I think that gives us an advantage, just kind of set our defense. And we really trust what our defense does. Our metrics have been awesome. So I think if we trust that and stick to our game plan, we're going to be in a good situation.
So outside of that, so put that in it, Parker, but what's better with you guys now compared to when they beat you late last year?
Yeah, I think we're not a different team. We're the same team, but I think we're a team that's just kind of found our identity, and I think I've talked to you about it. When you bring in 10 new guys in this portal and this NIL era, it takes time to kind of, formulate your roster. It takes time to kind of figure out, oh, does this guy like to spot up, or does this guy like to cut, or what's his tendencies? And I think we're starting to kind of find that and starting to kind of hang our hat on what we're really good at. And for us, that's defense. Our defensive side of the ball has been really good. So if we can hang our hat on that, and then, just continue to move the ball and trust each other offensively. It's not that we have any selfish guys. It's not that at all, but it's continuing to trust the next guy and moving the ball. And as you know, if you keep the ball hot, if the ball doesn't stick, it's really hard to defend. So I think we've kind of just started to find our identity, and I'm proud of the guys for sticking with it, because there's definitely times where you could have been like, man, we're 0-6 in conference. Like, what's the point of this anymore? But we've had the opposite mentality, and we stuck with it. And obviously, we won 3 straight, and we hope to continue to win some more. And
I love some things Coach Johnson said about your guys' defense after the Oregon win. Coach Johnson praised the team's defensive connectivity with quick twitch, knowing what to do. So, what are some keys for you guys when the defense? It has to be, high end, but when it is high end, what are some keys?
Yeah, I think, it's just the little things. Like, if the guys roll into the hoop, if a big man's rolling, we got to have somebody there to tag him. And I think if you watch Dawson Garcia do that, he does it at a really high level. And he probably almost does it to an illegal physicality standpoint, but he'll hit you as you're rolling to the rim. And then, our guards, you got to have ball pressure, right? You can't just let the point guard be able to dribble free out there on the perimeter. Like, you got to get up and in his nose and get a little ball pressure, and it might result in a foul here or there, but over 40 minutes, that consistent pressure is gonna wear a guy down. And then just being on all the cuts, right? Like, if you're getting a pin down, can you chase it? If you got a guy that's a shooter, you got to chase the pin down. If you got a guy that's a driver, you can whip underneath the pin down screen. And it's just being really locked in, and we call it KYP, knowing your personnel. And if you're able to do that individually, all 5 guys on the same page, it's going to lead to a pretty good team defense.
My brother, ladies first. We discussed your girlfriend, Taylor Heisey. A couple of goals against Boston, was the top star for the PWHL's Frost. Ladies first, ladies last. Taylor still around?
Yeah, she's still here.
Yeah, let me. Hey, Taylor.
Hi.
All right, hi. Okay, so you get Toronto tomorrow here, XL Energy Center, 6:00. Go to the website, get tickets, watch it on FanDuel or Prime or whatever. But then you guys don't play until February 11th. Why is that?
Yeah, great question. So for our league, we still play national team-wise. So I have some teammates from Czech. They're going to go back to Czech. They'll play against Switzerland and some other teams over there. But for us in the U.S. and Canada, we usually play about 6-7 games of rivalry series during the year. We're still trying to figure that out with the PWHL, and sometimes leaving your team for that long is tough. You come back and you're not as connected. But yeah, this year we're going to go now to Canada's turf because we were in the U.S. earlier in November. So we're going to Halifax and then Prince Edward Island and play Canada in 2 games. I believe it's February 5th and the 7th. So we're going to be playing there, and then after that we come right back. We don't get a break, so I'll be gone for about 20 days, so Parker's going to have to fend for himself here. But meet my team in Toronto and then start all over again.
Well, but absence does make the heart grow fonder, too, if you know what I mean.
Oh, of course. Of course. He's going to have to hold the fort down at the house here, though. We'll see if I come back to it standing.
So when you play in Halifax, Taylor Heisey can channel her inner Nathan McKinnon, because Nathan at one time played for the Halifax Moose. You feeling me on that?
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. He's one of my favorite players, though, so I tend to watch him when he's on the TV. Parker does, too, with Cale McCarr as well.
Yeah. Safe travels for you, and safe travels for Parker, and get out there and win 4 in a row and beat Sparty. And likewise for you guys tomorrow at the X against Toronto. That was super cool, and I look forward to the next time I get to see you guys, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. I love you, Pierre.
Yep, love you too. Bye-bye. That's Parker Fox and Taylor Heisey. Taylor, out of nowhere. That was fantastic. It's 9:57. Just I'm going to lay a couple of quick things out here for you, then we're going to pause and come back and segue to, the definition of the word purge. The fact that when it's shared, there will be a purple purge on the horizon. It doesn't necessarily mean that all purges are the same. So we'll put that together. But just a couple of things quickly. See how it hits you. Let's see how these two hit you, Lacan.
Okay.
First, I'll go in chronological order. Last Friday, the 3-2. The Dallas Cowboys announced their new head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, at 9:00 Central Friday night.
I always love that one.
Are you waiting for people to go to bed?
I don't know if you've been following, Bob Sturm, who I've obviously met through you. The natives are restless down there. They could not be more mad.
Who announces a signature role like that? Okay, hey, CD, Micah, faces a franchise. Yeah, we get it. Cool. But the head coach is the head coach.
Yep.
And he's new.
Right.
And it's for a super popular team in a super big market. They announced the hiring of Brian Schottenheimer Friday night, 10:00 Eastern, 9:00 Central. Really proud of that one, aren't you, old Jerry Jones?
Well, it's the essence, especially from a team that has really built the aura of bravado and the aura of spectacle without being in the 702. Jerry Jones and Big D standing on the star, the cheerleaders, the whole bit. Is that not the definition of ugly Friday news dump?
Wow.
I mean, just 9 p.m.
Yeah.
9 p.m. They're like, oh, yeah, we got a new head coach. Don't really ask us about it.
How about that?
Oh, people are pissed.
You think if they hire Dion, they announce it at 9 p.m. Central on a Friday night?
Well, the only reason it's at 9 p.m. Central is because it's on every national network. There's a show, there's a song, there's a band,
right.
There are guests. No, nobody's really happy about the Schottenheimer thing down in Dallas. Talk about a purge.
Oh, I found it. I could not find Super Bowl odds. Okay, so the Chiefs are 1.5. The
favorites, okay.
Favorites, right. The over-under's 49.5. The reason I go to that and bring this last thing up before the 10 is between segments, Nordo and I talk about things, and his quick twitch is, so Eagles rough them up, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I mean, could happen, but I got to, think the game out a little bit. We still have 13 days. And, okay, Eagles are underdogs here. But then I'm just like looking at some things, some spots that I go to just to like see if there's anything non-obvious or sneaky. And I think I potentially uncovered a game-changing gem. I'm not kidding you. And, I mean, Saquon could win MVP, and I'm not going to argue. Ain't no doubt about it. He could win National Football League MVP for the regular season, and I ain't going to argue with whomever voted for him. Obviously, in the postseason games, the long runs, the shiftiness, everything about him is just A+. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I'd agree.
His birthday is on Super Bowl Sunday.
Happy 28th birthday.
He's celebrating his birthday on the biggest professional day of his life. And it's Patty Mahomes candles that might get blown out. How do we factor birthday handicapping into the one and a hook?
It pains me to say it. I mean, we got 13 days. My opinion could change 7 times between now and kickoff on Super Bowl Sunday. James Cook had like 140 yards on 15 or so touches last night.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon's going to run for a freaking mile on the Chiefs defense.
Can't argue right now.
So, Spags, we love you.
Can't
cool
argue.
Defense. Nick Bolton, Kyer Elam, all those bits. Trent McDuffie, we love you.
Can't argue.
Chris Jones, whatever. Saquon Barkley might be the Super Bowl MVP on his birthday because he is going to smash them on Super Bowl Sunday at the Superdome.
Why is Kansas City favored?
I know. That's what I mean, they're going for the 3-peat.
Yeah. Well,
I know exactly why they're favored.
Because a lot of people bet them.
And a lot of people are going to bet them. And it's the same thing we talked about in the Rams-Vikings game.
Yeah. You think the wrong team's favored.
There's going to be a ton of Philly cash coming in over the next 2 to 3 days to try and get that plus 110 or whatever it's sitting at right now.
Yeah.
And that's going to flip, and it might flip back again. We'll see. But Saquon, that seems like the right answer. The Chiefs know that's a thing.
Yep.
And Dalvin's little brother probably should have gotten a little more love on that final possession, but he didn't. And but I think Saquon's honestly going to need an oxygen mask for all of the runs that he's going to have 10 plus yards on Super Bowl Sunday.
It's tough for me to argue with any of those angles at first blush. I think the wrong team's favored. I think Eagles should be favored by a point. But then again, there's going to be a lot of... You make the Kansas City Chiefs underdogs in a Super Bowl, and, I mean, there are going to be people that just smash it out of principle because they know how to win those games.
Now, do they have the... There's got to be a ramp access for the wheelbarrows when they come in full of cash if you make the 2-time defending Super Bowl champion a dog in a Super Bowl.
Right, that's what they do. But you know what? Sometimes people have dollars, but they don't have sense.